Thank you, Jess. This is their first race of a brand new season in CAM's Jayco Australian Formula 4, qualifying earlier today. And it was a fabulous session, which we saw 21 laps completed and the closest margin of pole to second place ever in this series of just 21 thousandths of a second. Cameron Shields from Ryan Sewell and Jaden Ojeda, they were the three fast drivers early today. We're going to grid up and go in CAM's Jayco Australian Formula 4. The next generation, Andy Jones, on display right now.
Yeah, really cool qualifying session for me. I loved it as the session went on. The boys just got faster and faster and faster, and it just built to this excitement level that the last couple of laps was going to determine our pole man.
Let's check out how they'll line up. It's Shields alongside Ryan Sewell, BRM versus AGI, the two big teams in this category going toe-to-toe on the front row. Jaden Ojeda, he has been quick this weekend. He's got a little virus though, and there was a big gap back to Lockie Hughes, who's been running with them occasionally this weekend, and Aaron Love. Can he move up the order like his brother did here 2 years ago and win a race for BRM? Jackson Walls on debut, as is pretty much the entire field. Only 3 of the starters were around for last season. None of them at all have had a race here at Symmons Plains before, so this should be very interesting.
Well, they're about to tick that box in their racing career, aren't they? Because we are about to line up for the start of everybody's first race in the F4 Championship.
So there was nothing in speed between Shields, Sewell and Ojeda, the top 3. The big question here is Hughes and Love, who seem to be the next 2 quickest, can they run with the leaders, keep in that all-important toe, and maintain a fight between the top 5?
Definitely, that's the question for me. Can Hughes run with these guys? We know that the toe will help him, and in his early phase in this career, he's going to learn a lot by just following these guys and seeing where they're braking, how they're getting through the corner.
This is the first start for a lot of these drivers as well, out of cards. Let's hope they all get off the line. And unfortunately for Ojeda, it was a little bobble, but he got going eventually. Side by side between Shields and Sewell. And Sewell holds his nerve down to turn 2 and will take the lead of this race. The first race of the season for Formula 4, Season 4, and we're underway.
Great job by everybody to get through that turn 1, 2, 3 section unscathed and without any contact. Pretty easy to tear a wheel off these open wheeler cars, so you from within the cabin and the cockpit there, you've got to have lots of spatial awareness to make sure not only do you not drag a corner off the car, but don't bang into anybody, because light suspension on these cars can be damaged very, very easily. So great job by this young field.
The fight for the lead is already on. Sewell, will he block down in towards turn 6? Yes, he does. It's late, and Shields did a very good job missing him. The fight is on at the front.
So we can see how hungry Sewell is there to be able to keep that lead. We just saw Cameron Shields there. We saw him in qualifying earlier today running on his own. So that would have been the first attempt or first bit of knowledge he's had this weekend on how much the toe will affect that car. And he really got sucked up on to the back of Ryan's car there on the lead.
Ojeda was a tardy start. Unfortunately for him, he fell back to 6th. And he's probably the most experienced driver in the field of getting open wheel cars off the line with all his Formula Ford experience. There he goes, he picks up 1 spot, getting Zaid Tones on the approach towards turn 4. Now, again, Shields will line up and have a crack at car 5. Carl Reinler is watching on as the DSO of this category, the driving standards observer. Now, Sewell makes his intentions clearer earlier. Goes to the left-hand side. If Shields wants it, he's got to go around the outside, and he might just do that. That's a great move if he can stay there. Side by side, wheel to wheel.
He hasn't got the job done yet, though, and these guys are giving each other plenty of racing room. He's done it.
Great move. Around the outside, but Sewell sends it straight back up the inside of turn 2 and tags him. Oh, he got away with it. I thought for sure the McDonald's car was going to be turned around then.
Absolutely. I thought they were bound to make contact. Some great racing here.
Man, that was tight.
And that went on for 3 corners. Great job, Cameron Shields. So Ryan blocked on the approach to turn 6. Made Cameron go the long way around, and he just didn't give up, did he? Great racing and great respect between each other to be able to do that. You cannot race like that unless each other gives the other driver respect. So that's hats off for me.
And Shields may have already broken the toe of Sewell in 2nd. Here's Aaron Love going for 3rd. He'll send it to the inside of his teammate. And he'll make that one stick. Nice move for P3.
More traditional pass happening there.
Inside line. Ojeda also thinking about a move, but what a cracking move that was from Cam Shields. Here it was, outside of turn 6.
So let's have a look at this. Shields very confident on the brake pedal there, and he just got the nose ahead in the braking zone. It was enough to encourage him to stick on the outside of Saul there, but Saul wasn't giving up. And he continued to stuff the inside of that Ray White car in between Cameron Shields, and the apex at turn 1. Did they make contact? No. Must have been the smallest of margins.
He had to jump on that inside curb to avoid him, and I wonder if it's potentially even hurt that car a little bit. Now they're all stacking up behind Ojeda, who's picked off Hughes, and Hughes wants the spot back. Tone's going for a ride as well with them. And also Thomas Smith. This is tight down at turn 6. Good scrap. 5 cars fighting for P4.
This is good to see Tommy Smith up there. Had a quick chat with him earlier. He was very disappointed after qualifying. New for him, first time he'd ran on green tyres, and just felt like he underutilised what he had available to him. So great for his confidence to see him moving forward from his original qualifying position and be right in amongst the thick of it here.
Jackson Evans in the 11 off the back of this pack trying to reel these guys in, and this is close quarters.
That's real close.
Whoa. And a chance up the inside.
The thing when you're up the inside like that is you've got to turn really tight like you did. Made contact, unfortunately. It was very light contact. These boys can race on.
That was Smith on Smith. Josh passing Thomas, and now Tom will be potentially under fire from the Patrizzi course team. Jackson Walls, son of Tony Walls, GT and Carrera Cup driver. Jackson's going to have an attempt at the move here at turn 6. Nicely done. So unfortunately, Tom losing 2 spots in just the 1 lap.
Can't help but feel I've just put the commentator's curse on him. He was doing a brilliant job.
Tight battle.
I was interested to note there just the straight line speed out of Cameron Shields' car that he had to be able to tow up to the back of Ryan Saul the way he did. Can't help but feel like they're running low wing. So some adjustments that you can make on these cars is we can see that front wing and rear wing. You are able to change the angle, and they're pretty susceptible, to that wing angle change. So if you want to put more wing on it, it'll give you more corner grip. If you want to take that wing off at a place like Symmons Plains here, where we've got a couple of drag strips, it'll make it that you can effectively get through the air a bit slipperier and have some better straight line speed. And I can't help but feel like Cameron Shields is running a little bit lower wing than on the car of Ryan Saul, particularly how fast he towed onto the back of it.
So this race has just settled down a little bit as we approach the 1/3 distance of the opening race of the season. Looking off the back of Josh Smith. Sorry, that's Jackson Wall's car, the Patrizzi course entry that we're looking off the back of right now. So his dad, a race winner in the Australian GT Championship.
Taking some design cues from that McLaren and bringing him across onto the F4 car here for Jackson. So definitely flying the objective flag there. Very late on the brakes for Tommy.
And down in the pits, they've got objective pit walls all around it. It's a very well kitted out little garage for Michael Patrizzi's team, who are on debut here this year. Yes, that is the former Supercars driver, Michael Patrizzi, and has had for quite some time a very successful team in karting. They are the importer for Ricardo Kart as well, and they run a very good operation in the Australian Kart Championship. He came out to Queensland Raceway last year to take purchase of that car, and here he is on debut, and his first driver, Jackson Walls. So welcome to the sport, Michael Patrizzi.
And great to have Michael on board, but also Patrizzi Corsa, so that we've got this, I guess, pathway from karting and the elite level of karting where you can join Michael's team there. You're given enough guidance and equipment, and really good equipment that is in the Ricardo kart, and then be able to progress from there into car racing with familiar people that know you. So I like his model, and hopefully it works well for him. Couple of good little battles going on here. Not unfamiliar for a junior open wheel category like this to see little packs building where the toe is able to bring them together. Once you break that toe, you're able to run away, but we're seeing it here, little 2x2s and the odd 3-car pack.
Lockie Hughes and the yellow and black Miguel. Behind him, Zaid Tones. They are teammates, despite the very different looking liveries at BRM.
Lockie Hughes car. A bit resplendent in the black and yellow there, a bit similar to Renault Formula One.
Yeah.
Looks pretty cool. I like it.
Just needs a little halo on it.
Exactly.
impressive in practice yesterday, running in the top few spots, which is a good sign potentially for him on old rubber that he might have some good speed. One set of tyres for the weekend. And the good news here for Lockie, Andy, and that's why this P5 battle's so important, is you flip the top 5 for the starting order of race 2. So whoever finishes 5th starts on pole for the second race, which will be coming up tomorrow. So that's why this battle's so important. If the 27 can pass the 15, he gets to start from pole. If he doesn't, he'll have to start back in the outside of row 3.
And there'll be no love lost between these guys. I guarantee you at the minute, they won't be thinking about where they're starting the next race. They'll be just trying to do everything they can to fight amongst each other here to stay ahead on the track. Young kids, but not a lot of foresight, just racing as hard as they possibly can.
Ojeda up the inside at turn 4. Aborts the move. He's fighting with Aaron Love for P3.
You spoke about Aaron Love at the top of the race here, didn't you? And you said, what can he do? He started a couple of spots down. He's moved forward. P3, pretty good job for me.
Started 5th.
All happened off the start line there, but he's holding his own. And we know that Ojeda's got plenty of pace in that car, but he just cannot get the job done on Aaron. So hats off to Aaron. Not a lot of experience in these cars. 2 guys ahead of him. Got a couple of years under their, or second year under their belt.
Well, only 3 drivers were in this category last year, and they're sitting 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
Yeah.
I know the 16 looks like it's got damage. It's the front nose cone of this car. There it is. Looks like it's had a bit of a scrape. Let's go down to the pits and Cameron.
Yeah, the feedback on Aaron Love, guys, I was talking to BD Suter Dawson, who's been working with him. They said that during practice and qualifying, he was just slightly conservative into the hairpin under braking and also into turn 1, which cost him about 3/10. So I think they've fixed that up. The rest of his sections, the rest of his sectors were fantastic. So the speed has been there. He was just overly conservative to start the weekend off. With regard to Cameron Shields, I can tell you he's running no less wing than the rest of the BRM cars. And in fact, they said it's very comparable across all cars in this field.
Oh, well, that's interesting because there was a very big straight line speed advantage there for Cameron Shields. So let's have a look and see if we can't see where that contact came from. I'd say that, there we go, tyre rub.
Man, that could have been huge as well.
And a little
right on it
there.
And it's actually bent the back of the crash protection system, which is there to protect the gearbox on the back of the Jackson Walls car.
So that's the tip of the front of Tommy Smith's car that we saw to part ways there, and that's why it looked a bit odd. A bit like a conveyor belt there, just plucking the nose off that car. You mentioned the gearbox safety element that's been added to these cars, and that's off the back of a couple of big accidents that we've seen and some people being injured over in the UK. And so the worldwide F4 program said, okay, let's, instead of having a jack point there, which they used to have, which was quite a sharp, blunt instrument on the back of these cars, they've made it a very rounded area on the back of the car so that if there is heavy contact made with the gearbox, the impact can be absorbed by that carbon panel off the back of them.
Good fight for 3rd this. Love holding steady. Ojeda, who was at one point looking like potentially stealing pole position. Had a poor start, fell back a few spots, wants this spot back. Aaron's brother Jordan, who races in Carrera Cup and has really come on quickly now for Sonic Motor Racing Services, particularly at the Grand Prix. The last round is here this weekend to cheer on his little brother. Aaron, Christchurch grammar student from over in WA, recently picked up his L plates. So he's free to drive on the roads. And here he is doing 200 kilometres an hour on a racetrack.
Always an exciting time in your life, isn't it, when you get that license to be able to drive on the road? Looking very, very relaxed there from those onboard shots. I can guarantee you from within that car, he will be working and thinking and just be absolutely intense little battle going on here to try and stay ahead of Ojeda for a couple more laps here. Ojeda, very loose on the entry there to turn 2. Sliding the car around, a bit of go-kart style.
Hughes is reeling him in as well here. So that last lap, 56.3, so just a bit slower. But if he keeps this pace up, he might just get there. He's very strong under brakes down at turn 4 in particular. TFH, Cam's Rising Star entry.
So Ojeda will see Hughes coming up, making inroads into the back of his car, and he'll be thinking, okay, in a second, I'm going to not be able to focus all my attention forward and be working out how to get past Aaron Love. So that's why it looked like he was just getting a bit of a hurry up there.
So Andy, you were talking about the international Formula 4 category, which got me thinking. We've got Formula 1 on this weekend. A couple of drivers have graduated this year into Formula 1 out of Formula 2, which is the pathway. Pierre Gasly moving across and Charles Leclerc moving into F1 now. Formula 4 is the first step on that pathway. You talked about it before, and a lot of these drivers are finding that this is a good breeding ground, I guess, to start in Australia before you do move international in this category and then up through the ranks.
We've seen that already, haven't we, with Liam Lawson, who was so strong in this category last year. Very fast Kiwi, heading over to do the German series. And here comes Ojeda. He sends it up the inside at turn 4. Love gives him the room to move, and there was some good, clean driving, but Ojeda's eagerness will cost him as Hughes draws level. Can they go side by side through turn 5? Hughes has the momentum. It's dirty off the racing line out there as well, as Lockie finds out. His left side tyres just touch those gravel, those little pebbles and bits of gravel that are on the circuit, but he has the inside line at 6. Ojeda, though, is just so strong under brakes. Just on the brakes a good 10 metres later.
He just knew that he had to do that, committed really hard to making sure that he braked later than Hughes, because if Hughes had got by him. So let's have a look. This started all the way back here at turn 1, 2. Got a pretty good run. Well, this was the replay of the action that I saw, Speedway style, very go-karting-like. And then when he went to turn it back into turn 2 there, rear was still nervous. But he got a good run up to the hairpin here. He knew that he had to have a crack. He's had a look, brakes really late, but what that does is compromises the amount of corner speed you can run. You've got to turn the car with a lot of lock-on. And then you've got to wait to be able to wind that lock off before you can get on the throttle. And that's why we saw Lockie Hughes get that brilliant run on Ojeda. But it didn't stop there, did it? Went for nearly 3/4 of the track.
And the irony here is, 2 years ago, it was Nick Rowe in that car, number 31, and he actually took out Aaron Love's brother in race number 1 on that corner here 2 years ago, which is a strange turn of irony. Fast forward 2 years later, and here we are watching his brother and that same car now in a new driver's hands, but it's Cam Shields at the front, opened up 1.5 seconds, looking comfortable. New lap record, he's taken that off Will Brown. First ever 55 lap in race trim, 55.96. We look down from the armour or drone cam, what a cool angle that is. And this is going to go the way of Cam Shields here, looking very comfortable ahead of Ryan Sewell. Queenslanders 1 and 2 at the moment. BRM versus AGI. And these two are right on top of each other in qualifying trim, and it's looking the same here, but he's just managed to break that toe, which means there was not a lot that Sewell could do to stick with him anymore. Last lap coming up, and he's following the Toowoomba pathway to success. It's like we've seen a few drivers in this category do already. 2 out of the 3 champions in this category have come from Toowoomba. Cam Shields trying to make that 3 out of 4 this year.
But at the moment, he's looking very, very strong, isn't he?
These two have gapped the field. That's a huge gap, 5.8 seconds. Back to Aaron Love, who's on the last lap now. Does he have to worry about Jaden Ojeda one more time? At least not here at turn 4. Ojeda might be close enough at turn 6.
I'm going to say yes, because having dealt with some of these guys, their hungriness to succeed, whether it's for a race win or just to pass somebody, is definitely there.
Here it is, the fight for 3rd. Can he get close enough? What's the speed trap telling us? Ojeda, 2 kilometres an hour quicker in a straight line. No, that time it was dead even. So he's not going to be close enough to have a crack. It's going to be BRM, and it's going to be Cam Shields. This kid is dynamite. He has gone through his first season. He felt painfully close to becoming the champion to Nick Rowe last year. He was there at the Gold Coast for the last round and in the fight. But this year might be his year. He's a former national class champion in Formula 3. He won that when he was just 15 years of age. He has a lot of open wheel seat time already for a guy who's still a teenager. Just turned 17 last December.
Still looks like he's 15, very much baby-faced.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? Some of these kids do not look like they're old enough to race cars when you go walking through the pits. They look like they should be still at the kart track, and that's what's awesome about this category. Bringing them to the big race tracks in front of the team bosses from supercars, and a chance to impress everyone there. Congratulations, Cam Shields. Did it relatively easy, and he took Will Brown's lap record in the process with a really nice move at turn 6. He will get the win from Ryan Sewell. That's another strong performance from Ryan. Aaron Love, that equals his best result inside the top 3. And Ojeda will rue the slow start, which cost him a good result.